And welcome to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream edition. And we're welcoming back. Hi, I'm Ken Lundberg. Welcoming back Mike Weibel.
Why, thank you.
Welcome back.
Woo! I'm here.
3 whole shows we missed you. We had Brett Witkowski in here, and I want to say a special thank you to Brett for filling in.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. The guy burns candles at, most people, if they work hard, you say they burn candles at both ends. He burns them at 3 ends. I don't know how that's possible.
If anybody could do it, it's him.
Yeah. So anyway, so a special thanks to Brett Witkowski for filling in. We'll keep him doing some sports things as we can, because I know he's got a busy schedule.
Yeah,
sometimes he's at like public meetings till 10 o'clock at night, which I think is ridiculous.
Right.
Got to manage your schedule better.
Time
you got to get to bed by 8 o'clock.
He needs a time manager.
I get to bed by 8 o'clock. I try to.
You told me you go to bed like at 1 o'clock, not to text.
Oh, in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said don't text me after 1 o'clock.
Right.
That's when I'm done working. Anyway, good morning and welcome. Thanks for joining us. We've got a lot to talk about. Mike was in Greece.
Yes, I was.
You were also having bratwurst in Munich.
Munich, yes.
How was the bratwurst in Munich?
Very different.
Was it like a McDonald's bratwurst?
No.
Oh.
No. It was
because you were at the airport.
Right.
And so airport food, was it authentic?
Yeah. No, it was authentic, and the place was called Wieners. That's what it was called. Wieners.
And so was it just straightforward brat?
Yeah. So it was just it was like
not like a cheese brat or anything like that. Okay.
No Johnsonville over there.
No Johnsonville. No. Okay. Just checking.
My son went through, they had a kettle of sausages, like white sausages.
Yeah.
And so he points at that. He goes, "I'd like a bratwurst," and points at it.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at the pot and goes, "Do you want a bratwurst or do you want that?" And he goes, "I want a bratwurst." He goes, "That's not bratwurst." And he goes, "Oh."
What was it?
Just a sausage.
Oh.
And he goes, "Do you want a bratwurst?" He goes, "Yeah." So he reaches back on the grill and pulls out what looks to be kind of like a hot dog.
Yeah.
And throws that on there. And he's like, no bun, no nothing, just a sausage with.
They torture Americans all the time, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but it's good times, though.
So now, do you speak German at all?
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of funny. When you're flying, especially, we're 9 hours and we fly on the Lufthansa. So when you're flying on Lufthansa and they go to announce all that they're announcing from the pilot, they do it in German and then they do it in English.
Okay.
And you realize what a difficult language German is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it takes like 75% more time to say what they're going to say. And in German, and then they end with, Auf Wiedersehen. And then with the American part, when they do in English, they'll go, bye-bye.
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 That's pretty fun. Well, we're glad you're back in one piece. And so one of Heidi's bucket lists was to go to Greece. Did she have a great time?
She did. We certainly have a huge portfolio of stories, family stories. 7 of us went. So that by itself lends to some crazy stories that will seem very funny a couple weeks from now. But at the time,
not so much.
Not so much. So I actually wore
Lederhosen.
What's that?
Lederhosen?
Yeah, no. A pair of jeans that I had on. Lufthansa forgot my bag in Frankfurt.
Oh, no.
So I actually wore my jeans for 2 days in Athens and then put them in my bag. And then Sky Express. If anyone is ever flying anywhere overseas and you have an opportunity to fly in Sky Express, please do yourself a favor. Do not ever fly in Sky Express.
Really?
Yeah. Horrible customer service.
Oh, dear. Okay.
And everybody that we talk to, when you say clock.
Yeah. We'll come back and talk more in just a moment.
Oh, I'm ready.
It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Personal Loan Networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:05 WSJM Morning Show continues. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. Here with me, returned our world traveler, Mike Weibel. And the video live stream is already saying, Bill is already saying, welcome back, Mike.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, so
it's good to be back.
Mike, if you're just tuning in, Mike has been traveling around the world, gallivanting, as you will, in Greece. He made a couple of stops in Germany to get a bratwurst.
Yep.
Not a sausage, just a bratwurst.
Just a bratwurst.
Yeah, so we'll talk about those things and more. Also, my learned over the late last week, learned that the new Pope Leo the 14th, actually was the person who baptized my 3 children.
Which is, that's just awesome.
What are the happenstance of that?
That's just awesome.
And in fact, the boys are already getting media inquiries.
Really?
From around. Yeah, some CBS reporter in Chicago reached out and said, "Hey, I'm the reporter anchor here. This is really interesting. Could we get you on a Zoom call, all 3 of you?" I'm encouraging the boys to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that'll be fun.
That's very cool.
As long as they don't ask any trick questions.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes reporters, we get a little bit wiggly.
You do.
Sometimes.
Got to watch you guys.
All right. So we've got the temperature outside. It's decent. We're getting up into the, maybe we'll get up into the 80s today. I don't know. It's probably going to be a little bit cooler by the lakeshore, but we do have a forecast today of some increasing clouds, just a 20% chance of showers, but a high today predicted inland around 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's where they were here in Wood TV, 83.
Yeah. So it should be amazing. Somewhere today. By the lake, it'll be a little bit chillier, so just keep an eye on that. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, 30% chance of showers, a low around 60, and then Tuesday, partly sunny, a 40% chance of showers. High tomorrow, about 78 degrees in the warmest places. Yeah, so that'll be nice. Wednesday, partly sunny, again, a chance of showers. Thursday, partly cloudy. Friday, partly cloudy, chance of showers both of those days, but we're still going to have highs in the upper 70s, low 80s. The latest news from the WSJM newsroom. Unfortunately, a pedestrian struck and killed by a vehicle early yesterday morning in Cass County. According to the Cass County Sheriff's Office, the crash was reported just after 4 a.m. on Sunday in the 57,000 block of Wilbur Hill Road, just south of Dowagiac. Deputies say a northbound vehicle struck the pedestrian who was in the roadway. The person was pronounced dead at the scene. The name of the person is being withheld pending notification. The deputies say the crash is still under investigation. 2 Berrien County attractions are now recipients of Governor's Awards for historic preservation. Niles History Center Director Christina Arsenault tells us she got word Thursday that the Chapin Mansion restoration and the Fort Joseph Archaeology Project have both been selected for the awards. She says it's an honor to see the 2 being recognized by the state for honoring Michigan's past.
We're excited that, these are 2 of the things that we spend most of our time on, the Fort St. Joseph, obviously, and we're working very hard to rehabilitate the Chapin Mansion. And so this has brought some new attention to it, some new community interest, and really we're just getting started with that.
Arsenault says the Chapin Mansion will be open for the season Memorial Day weekend with tours, and an open house is planned in June. As for Fort St. Joseph, that site dates back to the 1690s. And for nearly 100 years was a hub for colonial activity that brought together settlers, soldiers, fur trappers, and nearby Potawatomi and Miami settlements.
Fort St. Joseph Archaeological Project has been going on for a little over 25 years now, and we're still uncovering more history every year. It's run as a field school, so it trains future archaeologists, but we also run it as a public community project.
Henry and Ruby Chapin built the Chapin Mansion in 1882. Donated to the city of Niles in 1933, it served as City Hall and is now administered by the Niles History Center. Arsenault says it's been a host to a lot of Niles history over the years. She welcomes the honors from the governor, telling us they put a new spotlight on 2 exciting things that are happening in Niles right now. The Black River in South Haven has been stocked with about 200 salmon fingerlings, thanks to the Rotary Club of South Haven and North Shore Elementary School. The Rotary's Tom Renner tells us the club has teamed up with the 4th and 5th grade classes at that school for about 5 years now to release salmon into the river. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources provided about 100 larvae to each class earlier in the year so the kids could watch them grow into fingerlings that were large enough for planting. Then the 2 classes and the Rotary volunteers released the fish.
Rotarians with the teachers have a bucket with all of the fingerlings in them, and then they each get a paper cup and dip into the bucket and get a fingerling and walk down to the shore of the river. And it's their the fingerlings' first introduction to the river water, so it's kind of fun to. They appear dormant at first, and all of a sudden the fish, realize, hey, I'm free, and away they go.
Renner says the program, done in partnership with the South Haven Steelheaders, is a great way for the students to learn all about the life cycles of fish. Plus, the kids have a lot of fun releasing the fingerlings.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. As long as they don't bread them and fry them up, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, until they're bigger.
Gotta wait a couple of years.
One last story talking about water and shorelines, etc. Several Southwest Michigan beaches have been nominated for the title of Best Beach in Michigan by USA Today.
I saw that when I was in Greece.
Yeah. The public is invited to vote for their favorite. USA Today has nominated 19 beaches for the honor. They do this every year.
Yeah.
And, honestly, it's a way for them to drive up a lot of views and readership and that, because they do this in states all around the country.
Oh, yeah.
But it's cool to be nominated and one of the great, highlighted as one of the great spots to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very nice, and we always try to win. USA Today has nominated 19 beaches for the honor.
We're winners.
Because we
That's
are
what
winners,
do.
darn it. And on the list, Silver Beach in St. Joseph, Tiscornia Beach in St. Joseph. So we get two.
Ooh,
We get two.
look at us.
South Beach in South Haven and Warren Dunes in Sawyer. Yeah, other beaches in the running for best in Michigan are Grand Haven, Manistee, and East Tawas. We have a link so you can vote for your favorite beach at our website, WSJM.com. The winner will be announced by the end of this month.
What do you get?
You get the title of Best Beach in Michigan. Bragging rights. You get bragging rights. That's all you need.
So
When you have something like Silver Beach or Tiscornia, what more do you need?
right. Although, here's something as a local, right?
Yeah, okay.
So then you put that out there, and then
Right.
people are like, oh, I'm not going to go to Michigan City. I'll drive up to the #1 beach in St. Joe.
Right.
And
Crowding.
Right.
Is that
Just
what you're thinking?
crowding, and
Yeah.
then they drive up, they go to park, they realize it's going to cost them $19.95 to park for a minute, and then they decide they're going to go back to Michigan. It's just kind of it's a little conflicting.
Yeah. And paid parking will start in downtown St. Joseph this week.
Yeah.
So we'll have stories about that. We'll have another guest interview later this week talking about the parking program, which started as a problem, and now they think they have a solution. So we'll talk about that later this week.
Is it a solution, or is it a program that's a problem?
That is to be determined. We'll have more coming up in just a couple of minutes right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We'll continue the conversation on the video live stream.
A couple of setbacks over the weekend for the time.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of parking discussions while you were gone as well.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yikes. Some people still a little bit miffed about how things are going to be going. So if you're not familiar, the downtown parking program in St. Joseph starts this week. They've been talking about it for years, as far as it being finding a solution to the perceived problem of parking
Right.
in downtown. And honestly, I mean, if you go down there, you don't know who the cars belong to.
Right.
But what they're operating off of, and I think they're using data, is they're finding that a lot of people who were parked along the State Street, where you have the main thoroughfare,
Right.
for a lot of economic activity down there, a lot of those parking spots taken up by people who either work there or own the businesses, or they're just not spending the money
Sure.
in those shops. And so in an effort to move them along so that you can bring people who want to spend money in downtown
Right.
to drive up economic activity, they've got this new program where you're going to pay, let's see, what do we do? 3-hour max, $2 an hour. So on-street parking west of Main Street is going to be $2 an hour. The time limit is going to be posted, and it's anywhere from 15 minutes to 3 hours.
Okay.
And you can pay. They have the little kiosks that they've installed,
Yep.
or you can use an app.
Are those the ones that are covered in trash bags?
Those are the ones covered in trash bags. Some of them are covered in trash bags. Others they've already had the trash bags ripped off.
Oh,
So hopefully for winter they'll have some nice canvas ones that they can lock down.
Be far more economical just to put trash bags over.
Well, you could do trash bags, but they don't look nice.
No.
Here, welcome to our community. Here,
Right.
here are our trash bag displays. You know how some places have elephants that people can paint. We have parking meters.
Parking meters with trash bags.
I hope that doesn't become a contest.
That could be.
Paint the parking meter.
Oh boy. Bedazzle the parking meter.
Yeah, get your bedazzler out. You haven't used it in a while. Parking in the lots west of Main Street is going to be $1 an hour, and the time limit is 15 minutes to all day, and the maximum parking cost for that is $12. That's what they're saying. You can pay via mobile app, although I know Gail in our Moody on the Market team, he tried registering for the app. I already have the app because I park at some of the dog parks,
Right.
And I don't want to get dinged with a ticket, so I paid the little fee. But Gail tried to download the app, and I don't think he'd mind me sharing. He couldn't get it to work because it had some sort of registration thing, and then it dinged his credit card for one of those small test fees, and so he got flustered and never completed the registration. Yeah, I know. So that's something I think the city is going to have to keep an eye on to make sure that people with smart devices can successfully activate the app. Yeah. So anyway, so that starts on Thursday. We will have some people in to talk about it later this week. We'll tell you more in a minute. But it is the WSJM Morning Show. We have to get back. Welcome back, Mike. Let's see what are we saying on the video live stream. Bill says Saturday we ended up getting second and third in the opening race at M40 Gobles. Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw your post. I think it was on Instagram, Bill, not Bill, because his name's really Scott. But saw that you did well there, so congratulations on that. Diane says, good morning, everyone. Welcome, Mike. Greece, what a great trip. And then Mike says, thank you, everyone. And then there's a congratulations. Let's see, Bill, sounds good for beginning season. Okay, so all good stuff. Everyone's good. Happy. Mike's back.
Happy.
Yep, we'll be back on the radio and the live stream here in just a second.
Situations.
Partly sunny today. We'll see increasing clouds through the day and a chance of a few scattered showers late this afternoon. High temperatures near 80, a little cooler near the lakeshore. Partly cloudy tonight. We'll see scattered showers. We drop down to 60. And tomorrow, partly sunny, off and on a few showers. High temperatures around 78. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show, and I'm Ken Lundberg. And the person to my left, who has forgotten that we have a clock to follow, is Mike Weibel.
I was waiting for the clock trigger, and my time is totally messed up. So
That's all right. That's all right. Back from 25 hours of travel from Greece to here, and on 2.5 hours, 3 hours of sleep?
yeah, 3 hours.
3 hours of sleep?
Yeah.
Have you seen the dogs yet?
Yeah.
Are they happy?
Oh yeah.
Were they
Yeah,
ecstatic?
They were.
Did they just faint when they saw you?
Yeah, they just couldn't figure. They were out of breath. They were panting, out of breath.
Mike went to Greece. Before we get into a couple other news items here, you mentioned that it appeared foggy one morning
Yes.
in Greece. You want to relay that story?
Yeah. So we were in this little island called Santorini, which is kind of an iconic tourist area. And one morning, weather was nice, but it was really hazy, foggy.
Okay.
And when we were heading to the airport, the Uber driver, which was the same guy who brought us from the airport when he came, said, "Oh, you see all that out there? It looks foggy, doesn't it?" And was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, it's fog.
yeah, it's fog."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, it's the winds coming out of the south. That's dust from Africa." And I go, "What?" He goes,
Wow.
"No, it's dust from Africa." He goes, "It's not fog. It's 63 degrees." He goes, "It's dust from Africa." And I was like, "That's why everybody's hacking and is all." And
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "It's going to be this way for a day or two."
I mean,
So,
'cause if you look at a map, it seems like it's still pretty far away,
yeah,
but it's not that far.
uh-uh.
And sometimes we have the air quality problems here where our friends to the north,
Right.
Canada, because they're smoking too much. No, the wildfires.
You can't talk about Canada because they're a little bitter right now.
They're still bitter at it. They're still
Yeah.
mad that we're trying to mend that
Right.
relationship.
Right.
We get the smoke from their their wildfires. But yeah, so you were getting dust from Africa and breathing it in, thinking, that fresh fog. Tastes a little gritty.
It does. And the big thing in Santorini is sunsets, and they're like, and he's like, too. Part of the reason why the sunsets are so good is because of the dust from Africa.
Oh, it's reflecting everything and makes it look more magnificent.
Yeah, but they were, compared to our sunsets, substandard.
Okay, ours are better.
Oh, all day.
We should nominate ourselves as the best sunset location.
We should
in the world.
And then one of my kids was like, "Yeah, well, it's because of Gary, Indiana. That's why we have sunsets
because we have particulates.
Yeah, all the pollution." And I'm like, "Hey, don't be messing with our sunsets. Our sunsets are awesome,
man."
Oh, like you talked about Mount St. Helens,
right?
Remember that?
Oh yeah,
that summer after Mount St. Helens, the sunsets were amazing
because of all the stuff in
all
the
the
air.
ash. Yeah,
that's nice. All right.
So there's upside to pollution.
There, according to Mike. I would rather breathe, but we'll talk about that later. Breathe, Schmeeth. Who needs to breathe? All right, it's 7:20. It's Monday, May 12th. We've got some news in from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Okay.
While you were gone, they got rid of the artificial dyes and colorings, and now they've approved some new ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved 3 new color additives from natural sources that will, they say, expand the palette of available colors from natural sources for manufacturers to safely use in food.
Interesting.
Yeah. The 3 dyes, Galdieria, I don't know.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's a natural
Sounds
thing.
like you should get a shot for that.
The extract for that is blue. They also have butterfly pea flower extract and calcium phosphate. All, they say, natural sources to give us fun new color additives. I can personally testify that the butterfly pea flower is for as far as food coloring goes is fantastic. It's the most beautiful blue you've seen in liquid and water.
Really?
Yeah, ever. So in fact, I like it so much. I have a bag of the pea flowers.
Okay.
And it's a tea basically, and it tastes a little bit like matcha. So it's kind of like it's got that very earthy.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest thing in the world, but if you're looking for something very savory and very earthy, that's your. But the best thing about the butterfly pea flower is it has this wild, vibrant shade of blue, and everything it touches turns that color blue.
Really?
It's fantastic. In fact, I'm making some kombucha right now.
Boy, kombucha was big over there.
Was it really?
Yeah. Every place you went, there was kombucha.
Oh, so I'm making a new batch of kombucha, and one of the batches has the butterfly pea flower in it. I steeped that as the tea base, and it's purple because I mixed it with some red stuff too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has made phasing out petroleum-based dyes in the nation's food supply one of the priorities of his broader initiative to make America healthy again. Artificial food dyes facing new restrictions or bans altogether at both the federal level and in more than half of our states. In April, FDA's Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary announced the agency would work with the industry to remove and replace the dyes. So this move is part of that replacement, though the FDA hasn't largely yet made this a requirement for the industry. He says, for too long, our food system has relied on synthetic petroleum-based dyes that offer no nutritional value and pose unnecessary health risks. I don't care about the nutritional value.
Right.
I mean, you want to color something, fine. Make it a pretty color. Don't mess with my health. You don't have
especially
to.
that petroleum. I have a good friend who's a big Gatorade guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, what are you going to do when they remove all the color out of your Gatorade? And he goes, I don't drink clear Gatorade. And I go, so you're going to stop drinking Gatorade? He goes, I think I'll just go to Powerade. I go, the idea is not the manufacturer. It's the petroleum-based dye that holds the color.
Right.
And I go, do you really want like your Gatorade to have Vaseline floating around the inside of it? And he was like,
makes your lips softer.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, they'll come up with something. I'm like, well,
I don't know what it is, but I think it's just having, water is clear.
Right.
Have no problem drinking water. Gatorade, clear Gatorade, can't drink it.
Right.
Because it feels like I'm drinking. I don't know what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I don't see what I don't know what I'm drinking here. It just weirds me out.
It is.
It needs a color.
Remember when Pepsi did that? They came out with a clear
Pepsi
version?
Clear,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I do remember that 7-Up and Sprite, no problem there.
Right.
And
But
I think
Pepsi Clear was not.
Pepsi Clear,
Yeah.
kind of syrupy looking.
Yeah, and it just the texture just is,
Oh,
and it tastes like Pepsi, which should be brown.
so wrong.
Yeah, it was weird.
Can you imagine if you're creating a new market, a new product in the food marketing area, if somebody came to the table and said, we've got this great new product, everyone's going to love it. Maybe it has a little cocaine in the secret recipe, and so it's going to be addictive and everyone's going to love it. Oh, what color is it? Brown.
Right.
Would anyone have thought, yeah, let's approve that?
Right.
But no, I mean, that's what the most popular Coca-Cola. There you go. It's brown.
So on the plane flight back, there was a little blip about Coca-Cola and the history of how it was brought about and the
Coca leaves,
Coca leaves, and then when I guess the U.S. government was like, "Ooh, cocaine bad," right? So then it was like, "Oh, okay, well we'll just mix alcohol." So then they added alcohol to it, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't do that."
Yeah.
And so then it was sugar. They just went loaded up on sugar.
Yeah.
And then they provided during World War II. Coca-Cola provided a free bottle of Coke for every serviceman overseas. So they were shipping all this Coke as a freebie.
You're right.
But then they got the government. It's brilliant. But they got the U.S. government to help them build 16 factories overseas to supply free Coke.
Oh my gosh!
But the U.S. government paid the bill to build the factories. And then when the war was over with, it's their factory that they didn't pay anything for.
Are you surprised?
No,
but you're right. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Great marketing.
And now they're the king.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 7:26. It's the WSJM morning show. This went where you didn't think it was going to go.
Not at all.
But it is fascinating. Always follow the dollar, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. One more. Let's see. President Donald Trump said he will sign an executive order that institutes a most favored nation policy for drug pricing. For drug pricing, reviving a plan from his first term that he said will reduce prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices almost immediately, he says, by 30 to 80%. Now, the order Trump plans to sign this morning, actually, at 9 o'clock, is expected to direct the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to adopt the policy, which would set prescription drug prices to match those of comparable countries. Full details of the order, not yet clear, but and including which insurance programs and drugs would fall under this initiative. But during his first term, Trump pushed for a most favored nation rule that would have applied to Medicare payments, but was later rescinded by the Biden administration. So the president said in a Truth Social post, "I will be instituting a most favored nations policy whereby the United States will pay the same price as the nation that pays the lowest price anywhere in the world. Our country will finally be treated fairly, and our citizens' healthcare costs will be reduced by numbers never even thought of before." Drug prices in the United States are nearly 3 times higher than 33 comparison countries, according to a report last year from the Department of Health and Human Services. About 67 million Americans are currently enrolled in Medicare. So that more information on that expected this morning as the president signs another executive order, this one targeting the high price of drugs. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating if you are in arguably the world's most free country, and yet you still have to pay 3 times the price of any other country for your medicine.
For the exact same thing.
Hey, that's great. Wave the flag.
Right.
Give it to me cheaper.
Right.
We're all about the free market and capitalism and all that, but at the same time, let's either share the pain and bring my price down,
right,
or bring everyone's down.
Especially when it's medical, people.
Right. We're talking about people's lives here.
Right.
Quality of life or life itself.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to hear the story about how I learned that my children have been baptized by the Pope?
I'm ready.
You want to hear that?
Yeah, I'm on my edge.
Should we do that now or should we wait? We could tease them and wait. No, let's do it now. Let's do it now. No. So as part of the news industry, we follow. We were all. I think even before you left, had the Pope passed away yet?
Yes.
It was. Yeah. It had just happened.
Away.
It had just happened on that Easter Monday, and so with the Pope's passing, we were very enthralled with watching the news around the selection of a new Pope.
And even I can say overseas, Greece and Germany,
everywhere.
It was everywhere. I mean, everybody was watching. It was a big deal.
And probably in a shorter time frame than I expected, the white smoke came from the Sistine Chapel and the announcement of the new pope, and then we were doubly surprised by the fact that it was the first pope elected from the United States.
Yeah.
And reaction internationally, what was that like?
It was good. I mean, people were positive about it.
The people you were around that you talked to?
Yeah.
That you were about to tip for your dinner or whatever, they were okay?
Like other guests.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They didn't have any.
No monetary gain. Okay. So it was found out that a United States pope was chosen. And then not only from the United States, but from Chicago, from our region.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my goodness, we just kept finding out in layers more and more. And then someone from the church, St. Mary's in Niles, reached out to our family and they said, hey, by the way, thought you'd like to know this, but the father who baptized your children is now Pope Leo the 14th.
That's just awesome.
And if you remember, which I remember that day because I had three boys getting baptized, which is really cool. Usually you try to do that in the first year,
right?
Things being things and it being in the 2000s. Waited a little bit, so my three sons, Stuart, Sawyer, and Samuel, all got baptized on the same day at St. Mary's in Niles, and there was a visiting priest that day, and it was Father Bob. He was known as Father Bob. Father Bob. And so
I wish you would have kept that mid Pope Bob.
And part of why he was there is he was traveling around different churches in the region and trying to up the attendance of Spanish speaking. Because they have Spanish Mass, right? Yeah. They have a certain time for Spanish Mass, and so he was trying to up that population and bring more of them into the church. And obviously he had spent a lot of time in South America and was about to spend more time because he was going to, I don't know if he knew that, but in 2015, the year after, he was appointed bishop in Peru.
Yeah.
And so he performed the baptisms that day and gave the homily and everything else. And there's a picture, I put it up on my social media, and sure enough, comparing the pictures, and then we've got the signed document, and the church reached out to us and said, the person who baptized your children is now Pope.
Wow.
Which is just what an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the boys' reactions. Yeah. Stuart, Sawyer, and Samuel. Sawyer called me and said he was just ecstatic. He was just over the moon. He just thought that was amazing. Samuel, obviously he thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do at school? People are going to be all over me. And then and Stuart is, he's just tickled as well. So it's a lot of fun. I think
it'd be great to have that photo that you posted and turn that into a t-shirt. My time with Pope Bob.
And Stephanie said I should put Pope Famous on it.
Exactly.
But as I mentioned earlier, now the boys are getting outreach from media asking for interviews.
Yeah.
Asking for interviews. I said, yeah, you should do it. Make sure you have your talking points.
Exactly.
Don't say anything dumb.
Yeah. No pressure.
No pressure
have
at all.
Talking points. Don't say anything dumb.
Yeah. So anyway, what a happy thing. That's fun.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
There's a priest at St. John's. He's I've been to a funeral and 2 weddings that he's performed here in Benton Harbor.
Okay.
Just an amazing guy. Very I don't know. Sometimes I've been to Catholic. I'm not Catholic, but I've been to Catholic services, and the priest is very old and just seems to be kind of out of touch.
Okay.
This guy he's funny. He is it's just a great thing. So, and he did a lot of time in South America and the Bahamas.
Oh.
So, and yet has a very strong Indian accent. So okay. I wonder how you speak Spanish with a Indian accent. But
yeah, very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. So it'll be interesting to see. The Pope Leo the 14th does have his first press conference today. It may be happening as we speak because it's on Italy time,
right,
or Vatican time, and so he's got his first news conference today. He gave his first Sunday blessing yesterday, but I think the majority of the thought is he will continue in the footsteps of Pope Francis, where they'll separate paths, if you will.
Right,
it remains to be seen, but we'll see. And I think the best thing about it is he's not a Cubs fan; he's a White Sox fan.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see, like, was it last week they were giving away the vintage sock sweaters?
Oh, were they?
yeah.
I did not see
I
that.
had a friend of mine who took his family, and everybody got these white with the vintage socks in the front.
Yeah.
I mean, legit sweaters.
Just what you want in the summertime.
Exactly.
No wonder they lose.
They probably were very cheap. Probably got them before the trade embargo with China.
They have good ventilation. All right. It's 7:34. It's the WSJM Morning Show. More to come in just a few moments. We've got the Bloomberg Market Minute. We've got ABC World and National News and more.
So,
Yeah, that's fun stuff. The
So you think when you win the Masters,
yes, golf. We're
Yeah,
we're
you
over
get
in golf.
you get to pick what meal you want, what wine is served. You get to
Wait, are we talking about your last meal if you're going to get executed or the
No,
Masters?
No,
Oh,
the Masters.
okay, the Masters.
So my question is, now that we have a Pope that's from Chicago,
Oh, yeah.
so I wonder if he got. I mean, are they going to serve like Chicago dogs at the Vatican now?
Brett and I talked. I tried to talk with Brett about this last week, and Brett, lifelong resident of the area,
Right. Don't tell me he's never had a Chicago dog.
he is not only has he never had a Chicago dog, he didn't know what a Chicago dog was.
What?
I know. I had to sit here. Me from Washington State, where, oh, is it a pig? Okay, I'll take it.
Right.
He didn't know what was on a Chicago dog.
That's, and I would consider him to be so well educated.
I think what it is, is because, and worldly and all that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think what it is most people are probably having Chicago dogs during a game, a sporting event, right? That's a huge
Yeah,
part of it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You go to a ballpark and he's at sporting events doing the work. And so he doesn't have time to eat a hot dog. So maybe that's it.
But I don't know that
I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever been to a sporting event and had a Chicago dog, because I don't consider that to be a.
Oh, that's not a good place to get a dog?
No.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, just a hot dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But not
get
a Chicago dog.
A
Okay.
Chicago dog is like its own.
Oh, yeah.
you
It's
know,
good stuff.
Yeah. It's pinnacle. So,
Where's the best place to get a Chicago dog? I mean, besides Chicago, obviously.
Yeah. There's the place in St. Joe, which is the.
No, I mean in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to ask my wife.
Oh, well,
She's
get her
from
on the
Chicago.
phone
I think.
or text her. You can text. Oh, she's sleeping.
Yeah, she's not
Let's
awake.
wake her up.
She
This is an important question.
She said to me at like 12:30 last night, "You're not going to the radio station, are you?"
Oh no!
Yeah.
Did she really?
Yeah. And I go, "Oh." So I'm sure she doesn't even know I'm gone. And when she does get up, she's going to be like, "That guy went to the radio station."
Oh no! Well, we're glad you did.
Thank you.
We're glad you're still in one piece. Boy, oh boy, we got some commercials we got to catch up on. Let's see. All right, so while I'm doing that, monuments that you visited while you were in Greece.
The Parthenon,
Okay.
that was very cool. And I actually caught the weekend before we left a Discover Channel thing on the Parthenon.
Oh,
And
so
so,
you boned up on it.
yeah.
Okay.
So because they're in the process and have been for decades of restoring the Parthenon.
Okay.
So the fact that the Parthenon that sits there, that's in granite and marble, is actually the second one. The first one sits underneath it.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
there was a limestone version of the Parthenon, and then at some point they rebuilt just over the top of it and added this kind of higher end. And just the way that they built it and the size of it is just unbelievable.
Give us a relative as far as the size.
Just
Like thinking about the Berrien County Courthouse. Bigger? Smaller? Same?
No, probably the same,
Okay.
but
Wow.
and it sits up on a hill, so you can see all of the, it was overlooking Athens, and
Yeah.
it's very mountainous. Again, it's hard was for me anyhow to understand how we think of how close things are over there is other countries, and even biblical stories that go from
Oh,
Jerusalem.
hang on a second. 1 second. And it's the WSJM Morning Show. Sorry about that.
What?
Well, we had the thing we were supposed to talk. So
Oh.
we're going to talk now.
Okay. So are we talking or are we not talking?
No, we're talking. We're on the air right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we were on the video live stream, but now we're on the radio
Gotcha.
thing as well. All right, quick check of the weather forecast because we're catching up here. We're doing story time, so we're behind schedule.
Show and tell.
Show and tell. Did you bring the slideshow of your Greece trip?
I have one. We
Okay.
have a share folder that.
See, that's what I like about this day and age. We don't have to all sit together and watch one source of a slideshow. You can just send it to us, and then we can watch it at our leisure
Right.
if we
Well,
choose to watch
and,
it.
and everybody just plugs in their own pictures. It's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Forecast for today. We see some clouds coming in. A 20% chance of showers and a high today inland about 80 degrees. It's going to be down in the 70s probably near the lakeshore if we get up that high. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, a 30% chance of showers, low of 60. And Tuesday, partly sunny, a 40% chance of showers. Inland, it's going to be a high around 78 degrees. It's the WSJM Morning Show. More coming up in a moment after the latest world and national news.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The last American hostage believed to be held captive by Hamas is about to be freed. ABC chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is tracking developments.
President Trump announcing that Idan Alexander, an American-Israeli hostage, is going to be released from captivity. So Alexander's been held for more than 580 days, and he's believed to be the last living American hostage. Alexander is from New Jersey, moved to Israel to serve in the military after high school, but Hamas kidnapped him from his military post during surprise October 7th attack. His mother is flying to Israel right now.
Hamas hoping the release restarts ceasefire talks with Israel. U.S. and Chinese officials reaching an agreement during talks in Switzerland to lower tariffs on both countries for 90 days while trade talks continue. That news sending stock futures soaring. Another set of problems for Newark Airport, where there was a 45-minute ground stop because of crackling sound could be heard on air traffic control systems. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Boy, Newark can't catch a break, can they?
Cannot.
What did they say? Cackling sounds? Chickens? Somebody let chickens in?
Crackling.
Oh, like a fire. Maybe
static.
Somebody crackling sounds. So somebody was watching the fireplace on Netflix.
Oh, it could be.
And they heard
Just
the
left their
crackling
phone on,
sound.
fell asleep.
Oopsie. Yeah, Newark, man. And we'll talk about it later on this hour, but it sounds like the transportation officials are saying this isn't just unique to Newark. It could be happening in other places as well. And they had one in Georgia over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So do they think that's just technology malfunctions, or do they think there's something more sinister?
More nefarious or sinister? Don't know. It's weird that it's happening all of a sudden. It sounds like something's failing at Newark.
Right.
So I haven't heard any other scenarios as yet, but I'm sure people are looking into it.
Huh.
All right. Some of the news that we're looking into in the WSJM newsroom that we'll have at 8 o'clock. Pope Leo XIV delivered his first Sunday blessing yesterday. Locally, being that he's from Chicago, we're finding more connections in Southwest Michigan. We'll talk about that. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. A longstanding Catholic school in South Haven has announced that after 75 years of serving students, it's closing. On Friday, Father Avilio Ramirez informed parents of students at St. Basil Catholic School that due to low enrollment, officials have made the decision to close at the end of this academic school year. So we'll talk about that. And other news, the MSU Extension Office is thanking residents of Berrien County for continued support. They offer a lot of different programs through MSU Extension, including agricultural and otherwise. And they say they got a lot of attention from Berrien County residents. So we have some numbers, some reports, some statistics, and a little bit more on how you can find out more information about what they have coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We've got sports coming up. Dave Wolf is out.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. It's still a couple of weeks.
Okay, sorry about that. I lost track of time. My computer wasn't showing me the right thing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Newark. I mean, holy mackerel, I'm glad I haven't had to fly through there.
Yeah, let's
see.
Look concerning.
Newark, latest on that. Yeah, because I imagine people are probably like, what in the world is going on with the equipment in Newark? Why don't they just unplug it? We learned last week that some of the air traffic control systems still run on floppy disk.
No.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, no.
Floppy disk.
No.
The 5 1/4 inch floppy
disk.
disk.
Buy those anymore. Probably for the government.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's probably one remaining government contract.
Right.
And that
right.
person's just as quiet as possible, sending it
Pumping
out.
them out.
You want to send a press release? We just printed our billionth disc for the air traffic control. No.
Yeah. No, we're good.
We'll just keep that quiet. Operations have returned to normal after another air traffic control equipment outage caused the FAA to implement a ground stop at Newark on Sunday morning. They say there was a telecommunications issue in the thing that guides aircraft in and out of Newark Liberty International Airspace. The FAA briefly slowed aircraft in and out of the airport while they ensured redundancies were working as designed. The ground stop, which means flights heading to Newark could not take off, lasted about 45 minutes. So now you're talking about not just the traffic that is inbound or landing or getting out of Newark, but stuff that is supposed to get to Newark that's still on the ground elsewhere around the nation.
Waiting on Newark to open back up again.
Yeah. And it lasted about 45 minutes. Separately, on Sunday, the FAA issued a ground stop for some flights bound for Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International due to a runway equipment issue, separate from the issue that impacted Newark. So people are messing with planes. The more than 40% of flights were delayed at the Atlanta airport yesterday. This comes after a 90-second long radar and radio outage that happened Friday morning at the same facility that handles flights departing from or arriving at Newark. There was a similar incident on April 28th. So that's the third outage.
Yeah, and we're talking about
Less
big
than a month.
airports.
Yeah, huge. Anyway, okay, lots of stuff going on. What else do you want to talk about?
Did we ever, speaking of Newark, did we ever figure out anything about the drones?
No, there was never final resolution on that that I think made everyone happy. The FAA issued a non-statement statement that said, "Yeah, we know what they are," and that's it. Yeah. That's what they said. Yeah, we know what they are. We're fine. It's not a national security threat. So I don't know what they ever figured out on that.
Huh.
Let's see. Drones, New Jersey. Let's see if anybody. Yeah, no, nothing more. Oh, wait. There's something from Reason Magazine.
Oh, what do they got to say?
Reason Magazine, by the way, free minds and free markets. They say newly released documents show what the feds knew about the New Jersey drone scare. Even after the Biden administration realized the most alarming claims were bunk, it did not publicize the evidence that it had. Yeah, it was, if you remember, and we just alluded to this, the government sent out a lot of mixed messages in December of last year in response to the various apparent drone sightings in New Jersey. And then President Joe Biden said that there was nothing nefarious happening.
Right.
That same day, members of Congress came out of a classified briefing saying the alleged drone sightings posed no threat to the public. And then the FAA imposed large flight restrictions backed by deadly force over New Jersey. And authorities announced they were investigating drone sightings. So let's see. What did they do after that? Where are the new documents? The Department of Homeland Security released a slideshow recently in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. Originally, Reason Magazine had requested materials. Make sure we're still on the air here. A FOIA. So they'd put a Freedom of Information Act in. Originally, Reason had requested materials from the department's closed-door briefing to local authorities. Sounds like they didn't get all of that. But they did give them some TSA materials. Boy, I tell you, the news pyramid does not exist in some places. Give me the first information first. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll go through that, and I'll see if I can find any more information about that. But they actually weren't saying anything new here, other than they got a response to their Freedom of Information Act, and they got a slideshow, but they're not saying what was in it. Okay. More coming up.
So Wachowski sends me a text. With two photos of Sox jerseys.
Oh, okay.
That have Pope Leo number 14 on them. And then his comment is, "My food is free at games, LOL."
Oh, so he's not getting the Chicago dogs.
No. But I think what we need to do is we need to get some Chicago dogs and have Wachowski back in and do a live tester so he can experience the Chicago dog.
Yeah. I want to make it more I want to gamify it a little bit more.
Okay.
Maybe we put a blindfold on him.
Oh.
Give him 3 different hot dogs and say, tell us which one is the Chicago dog. Now that you know what's on a Chicago dog, here, taste this and tell us which one is the real Chicago dog. That would take a little bit more coordination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know the guy that owns the Dog Slinger in
Ooh, yeah.
Stevensville.
Love Dog Slinger. That's a lot of fun.
Good Chicago dog there. So
vegetarian?
I'm sure we could work something out.
I think I have had their vegetarian dog. All right. We'll talk a little bit more about Greece. What do you want to get into? Did you take any tours while you were there?
Tours. Well, we did the walking tour, which kind of was self-directed at the Acropolis.
Okay. Hang on a second. We'll come back to it.
Never mind.
I'll ask you that question again.
Never mind.
No, I'll ask you the question again. Stand by. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Tax advice. Please consult a qualified tax advisor or CPA.
Partly sunny today. We'll see increasing clouds through the day and a chance of a few scattered showers late this afternoon. High temperatures near 80, a little cooler near the lakeshore. Partly cloudy tonight. We'll see scattered showers. We drop down to 60. And tomorrow, partly sunny, off and on a few showers. High temperatures around 78. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
10 minutes before 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we have news from ABC. We'll have the latest world and national news from ABC. Then we'll have our local news from the WSJM newsroom. We've got to get to the Moody on the Market update in just a moment. But first, wanted to ask Mike, did you take any walking tours on your trip to Greece?
Not official walking tours. We kind of self-directed our tours.
Uh-oh. Okay.
We did, like when we were in Athens, we did a lot of, okay, we're going to do 4 lefts. So we go to the corner and take a left, go down, take a left. So you could always end up back home.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get lost.
Right.
Okay.
But
or left, as it were.
But one jet lagged. I took a nap. Everybody else went out to do something, and then they were like, "Hey, meet us for dinner." And so I was like, "Okay." So I did my normal left and passed by them down the street and ended up down in a little shady part of town.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. But
did anyone try to sell you anything while you're there? I mean, was it the typical tourist kind of? Hey, come here.
Up and hand you, come up to your table and hand you roses.
Oh no, they do that?
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden they want money.
Yeah.
And then when we were in Athens too, lady dressed kind of like in a little bit of a babushka looking dark black gown thing, come up and hand you a cross.
Oh.
And then want money, from it. But also it was the same woman who we said, no, we didn't want anything, that tried to steal my wife's cell phone.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. How'd that happen?
Well, we moved, and all of a sudden, Heidi says, I don't have my phone.
Oh, dear.
So I went back to the seat where is that, and this lady is holding, she's probably, I don't know, in her 60s, is holding the phone, hitting her finger on, trying to get it open.
You're kidding.
No. And I walked up and snatched it out of her hand.
Oh, my goodness.
And then
that could have been an international incident.
It could be.
Wow.
And I gave her $20, and she tried to work me for more money than $20.
You gave her money after she stole your wife's cell phone?
Well, it was my wife left it in the seat.
Oh, okay.
So then she
found it was a finder's fee.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe she was trying to find out whose it was.
I don't think that was
Maybe
it.
I know this person.
Right.
Let me look in here.
Yeah.
Or she just wanted to see the photos, the family photos.
I think she was wanting to get into that photo.
It's the time for the Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. A lot of stuff happened while you were gone, Mike, including Fitch Ratings downgraded Whirlpool Corporation's bond rating to junk status.
Ouch.
Yeah, this was a shocker. Fitch Ratings has downgraded Whirlpool Corporation's long-term issuer default rating to BB+, taking it down from BBB-, citing elevated leverage and a sluggish recovery in consumer demand for home appliance products. Last week, the rating agency also revised its outlook for the company to negative, indicating the possibility of further downgrades in that long-term issuer default rating if financial conditions deteriorate.
Interesting.
According to Fidelity Investments, bonds with a rating of BBB- or better are considered investment grade.
Yes.
Those are the things that you want to put money into. Bonds at Whirlpool Corporation's new level of BB plus are considered speculative, and sometimes they're oftentimes they're referred to as high yield or junk bonds.
Right.
Not a category you want to be in.
They don't like to say junk bonds anymore.
Yeah, that's still
Everybody
out.
likes high yield.
I'm sure people don't like to hear junk bond because it tells you, oh, what's the status of this?
Right. So there's
high yield. You mean junk?
There's a company that does an exchange traded fund that buys, and I won't tell you the name of it, but buys bonds that have been downgraded.
Right.
Buys them at the downgraded price with the anticipation at some point they'll be upgraded.
Okay.
And when they upgrade, then they sell them at the premium. So their behind the scenes way of making money is basically buying stuff that gets downgraded and waiting for it to pop back up and then unloading it.
It would seem that Whirlpool Corporation is probably one of those safer bets.
Right.
Where, okay, even though they have the junk bond rating status right now, they'll probably, and even Fitch says this probably will turn around, or it won't turn around at least until 2027.
Right.
I interpret that to mean that, okay, well, they'll slug through until 2027 and then things will get better. Maybe.
Right. But there's a lot of like mutual funds and stuff that have that restriction that they can't own.
They can't own it.
Right.
Okay.
So if you've held it and then all of a sudden now they have to sell it by restriction, that's where this product comes in and buys all the stuff up at deep discounts, and because everybody's selling it at the same time, they don't have a choice.
The downgrade essentially means Whirlpool Corporation will be faced also with the likelihood of paying higher interest rates to borrow money because there's a higher risk, real or perceived, that the issuer will default on its debt. In their statement, Fitch Ratings pointed to the company's elevated leverage and ongoing housing sector issues as reasons for their downgrade of the Whirlpool bond rating. So there's a lot more there that we'll cover here in just a couple of minutes. We've got a couple of folks at the door. You want to grab them real quick? Sorry. It's Cornerstone. They're coming in next hour. So that's part of the Moody on the Market update. So you can read that story and get all the details and see the full statement from Fitch Ratings. It's at moodyonthemarket.com. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We've got more news coming up in just a moment.
There's a new player in town. Hi, I'm Herman.
All right, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Mike is getting people at the front door. There are some of our guests for next hour. It's nice to see Mike back and that he traveled well. Things went well. We'll see if he can come back into the studio. They can hang out in the lobby. Okay, very good. So we're back on the video live stream. We have a couple more messages, and then we'll get to ABC News. So let's see. So you recovered your wife's stolen cell phone.
Yes.
You paid a finder's fee of $20, and she wanted more.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, and that was part of the leg of our trip when we found out that the company, Sky Express, the airline that we bought our tickets through, basically gave our seats away.
Wait, what? You bought seats and the airline gave them away?
Yeah. So over there in Greece, it's illegal to sell your seat. So they can't sell your seat to somebody else.
Okay.
But the loophole is they hold your seat assignment, so they don't give you a seat. You bought a ticket, but you don't have a seat assignment.
Oh.
So we flew from Santorini to Athens, and then we're making the connection in Athens to Corfu, and we had an overnight layover. So we had to get a hotel. Next morning, we show up for our flight. We're waiting in line. Everything is very slow. We get up to the counter and they're like, oh, well, you don't have a seat.
Oh.
And I said, well, we tried to get a seat in Santorini. They said, no, go to Athens. When we got here at Athens, they said, oh, go online. Went to go online. They said, well, you can't do anything online because you don't have a seat assignment. I show up and now you say I don't have a seat. And they're like, yep, you don't have a seat.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it had to be incredibly frustrating. I bet you were upset.
Yes. So then they sent us over to their welcome desk. And I explained this quickly to this lady with a little bit more hostility.
I'm sure.
And she says to me, and she's yelling at people in Greek on the phone. And then she comes back and says, I'm trying to find another flight for you. The soonest flight that we have, this is like 5:30 in the morning. Soonest flight we have is 8:00 tonight, and it's fully booked.
Oh, goodness.
So then they look at another airline that was fully booked. So she looks at us and says, your only option if you want to get to Corfu today is to take a bus.
Oh, take a bus.
A bus.
That does not sound like a pleasant option.
No. So it's an hour bus ride to downtown Athens, a 6-hour bus ride from Athens to Corfu.
Oh.
So we did Greyhound throughout. It wasn't Greyhound, but about the same.
Wow.
Stopping at every white spot in the road to pick somebody up.
Clock. One moment.
Boop.
IMS is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing all that you've shared so far about Greece. I'm sure we'll keep talking about it a little bit more, but right now we've got to get to ABC News. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock. Local news is next.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Hamas